So this video is going to show you how you can use Google Calendar to create events, organize meetings, and create whole new calendars as well. So to get to Google Calendar, you can go to the waffle in the top right and the calendar icon, or you can type in calendar.google.com, or you can click, if you've got a bookmark like I've got, you can just click your bookmark and it takes you to the calendar homepage. So at the moment I'm viewing this by week, but you can change. Some people like to view it by month or by day, and I think if you press the letter D or the letter W, it lets you change that view, which can be quite useful. Over on the left, I can see the different calendars that I'm a part of, and I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. And it's got the monthly view over here, so you can jump to certain days really quickly. So to create an event, you can either go to the plus and click create, but I find it much easier to just click on the calendar where I want the event to start. So imagine if I'm doing some training on Thursday at 1 PM, I'll just click during that time and it will create it. If I want to move it, I can just drag it up or down, and I'll give it a title like training. And you can change the length of the session. If you want to, you can type it in as well if these aren't the right length. Or you can make it an all-day event, and then it will go to the top and it will just let you know that that's happening all day. And there are a few other options as well that you can play with. So in the Google exam, it will ask you to create an event like this, and it will ask you to add in a certain guest. So I'm going to add in user 1. And there's a useful feature called Find a Time. And what that does is it pulls up both your and their calendar at the same time. And if they had an event there, and if their sharing settings on their calendar was set so that people could see if they were busy or not, which by default you're allowed to do that. So it would let you know before you even ask them that they're busy. So you can find a time that suits both of you. This works really well if there's 3 or 4, people that you're inviting for a meeting. But of course, it only works if people actually put all of their meetings onto Google Calendar. Otherwise, they might be busy and it will say they're free. So I'm going to click, let's say 1 o'clock. It looks like he's free. In the exam, when I did it, there was nothing in mine or the other person's calendar. So it doesn't really matter. Just choose anywhere where you're both free. And then there's a few other things you can do. You could add description to the event or add an attachment. If you go to more options, it will just show you a bit more, a few more features that you can change. So for example, I might want to add an attachment to this, which is an agenda. So I've just created a new agenda about what we're going to talk about in this meeting. And so if I go to the attach button from Drive, recent, it should be the first thing, agenda. So now when user 1 gets their invite to this, they can click on the agenda and view that. Now another thing it will ask you to do is to create 2 notifications. So by default, at least on my settings in this calendar, it creates a notification 10 minutes before the event. But you can change that to be an email, and you can also change the number of minutes, or if you want it to be hours or days or weeks. And in the exam, it will ask you to have a couple of notifications. One, an email, a certain number of days or minutes, and the other one, a notification, a certain number of days or minutes. So maybe it was something like a day before for an email and a notification 10 minutes before. So you can add those in, and you can add as many as you like. You can add lots, but you do that by going to add notification. But some people get a bit confused if they add a notification and they say, but how do I add an email? Well, the way you do that is you have to actually then click the drop down arrow and choose email. So if I'm happy with that, I'm going to click save. But notice that saves it in my default calendar, and I'll explain that now. So this is asking, would you like to send an invitation by email, which I won't do for now. And this is clever. It's noticed that I've put the agenda in there, but at the moment, the sharing settings, I've not shared it with that person, so they won't be able to view it. So it's prompting me to share it so that they can view. So I'll let user 1 view it. that important agenda. So that's created the event, and it's created it in my own default calendar, which is here. It's just everyone has this when your account is created. This is like your go-to calendar, really. But you might want to add in other calendars. So I've added one here called training. So I could take this and actually edit it with the pencil. And I think this will, if I change it now to be in the training, it will actually duplicate it. So now when I click save, I'll have 2 events. So maybe I'll delete the first one. So now this is in my training calendar. So it's changed the color to be the training color. And maybe it's just a way of keeping track of the different, events that you do and the categories they fall into. So to create a new calendar, so like my training calendar, you go down here to the plus, and in the exam, it will ask you to create a new calendar. It's easy to get confused about creating an event compared to a calendar, but think of creating a calendar as something you wouldn't do very often. So you click the plus next to other calendars, and then you click create new calendar. So I might call this maybe support. And then when you click create, it's done. You can change the settings of that calendar. So now down here, these are all the settings that I'm a part of. So where is support? I'm not sure. Let's try going back. Here it is. I'm going to change the color because it's very similar to some of the other colors. I'll make it red so it stands out. So now when I create an event, I can change it. Instead of being in my Luke Craig calendar, I can put it into the support calendar and do things like that. Maybe this will be when I help user 1 with Google Classroom. So that's everything you need to know for calendar. I hope that was useful, and there are some tasks again. So good luck with those and getting used to using calendar.